Harp on Sports, the Bar, podcast, media, audio, and radio network. What do we have in store for you on this edition of the program? Bill Russell's real legacy. Yes, the accolades are pouring in, and rightfully so. Guy was the greatest champion on the court, maybe the greatest champion in the history of sports, but he was even a greater human being. But his real legacy is something a little bit different. And I can count 5 or 6 of these guys, maybe 7 in the last 80, 90 years in sports. So we're going to look at that. Also, the DeShaun Watson decision. People beating up on the NFL for this. Why the NFL does what you tell them to. Look, this DeShaun Watson decision and, the 6-game suspension. Let's not forget that he was quasi-suspended last year. He still was around. He got paid. The NFL can try to remedy this, but why? At the end of the day, they're just following your lead as fans. Yeah. So we're going to look at that as well. Also, judge, jury, executioner, Aaron Judge. What's going to happen with him in New York? We'll find out in a couple months. But there's something that's even more interesting about Aaron Judge. He's going to catch and pass Ruth and Maris in terms of Yankee home runs 60 and above. Does he have a legitimate chance at Barry Bonds? So we're going to look at that as well. Again, Harp on Sports, the Bar podcast, audio, media, radio network. Follow, share, like, subscribe. You can hit us up Twitter, Instagram, at Harp on Sports, both of those platforms. Auditory Route, Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcast. Harp on Sports, the YouTube channel. Harp on Sports, of course, the Facebook page. And harponsports.com. All right, let's start off first with Bill Russell. 88 years old, great life. He was the ultimate champion. 11 times? 11 times he won titles in a 12-year span. 21-0 when his team had a chance to close out a series? It's remarkable, this guy's career, remarkable. Ultimate team player, to me, the modern day equivalent of Tim Duncan. That's what he would be in terms of a physical player. Now, he averaged 40 rebounds a game, different era. Lane was shorter, or at least more slender. All of those things. But Bill Russell holds a certain aura about him. Bill Russell, bigger than the game of basketball. He was. Now, look, different generations and their concept of this and what he was able to do to have awards named after you, all of those things. He's one of the few guys that I can think of. Now, you can talk about his championships and compare him to Jordan. No. That somebody else can do that. This man is one of 7 or 8 guys that I can think of for a time that was bigger than the game. Bigger than the sport that they played, participated in. And look, there's certain people that without a doubt they're bigger than their sport. Look, Michael Phelps ended up being bigger than swimming. Okay. Who are the other people on that list? To me, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, both were bigger than boxing. Mayweather got close. McGregor, bigger than MMA in fighting, close, but wow. Yeah. When you can become universally loved and you just elevate. The Beatles became bigger than music at times, right? Michael Jackson became bigger than music. I look at, it's tough to do too. I look around, Wayne Gretzky bigger than hockey? Of course he was. Jordan bigger than basketball? Yeah. LeBron's close. I don't think we're quite there yet. Kobe got close, but never got bigger than the game. Close. So I start to look around and go, okay, who's bigger than the sport that they play? Who's bigger? Bill Russell was one of those guys. And look, coaching-wise, John Wooden got there coaching-wise. He did. I would like to sit here and tell you that, baseball-wise, Babe Ruth was there. I don't think anybody's ever done it in football, which is amazing. One, I don't think the careers are long enough. I don't. Tom Brady is going to be that guy that gets there. If somebody's bigger than the game of football, it would be Tom Brady. But I think it's such a big sport, and there's so many people involved and so many different pockets of fans. It's tough to get above that layer of the, bigger than the game. You say, well, it's the ultimate team sport. No, there's a bunch of team sports. Baseball, there's 23-man roster. Come on. Ridiculous. 30-man roster once you get to September. Team basketball would be the one that you'd experience it the most, but you just don't. And then the Olympics, you go dominate the Olympics and you can become bigger than that sport, you bet. But to me, again, Bill Russell is on a list of a very few that became bigger than the sport that they played. Again, baseball would be Babe Ruth. Did Ted Williams get there? I think he got close. Hank Aaron got close. But bigger than the game? That's something pretty unique. Even Mickey Mantle didn't get there. I think Ruth got there. Baseball would be so tough. And, and you start to look around. There are big nights like Ichiro. That's the one that would be interesting. Ichiro for a while there internationally. Bigger than the game, you bet. But Bill Russell is bigger than the game of basketball. And you can count on two hands how many people in sports were bigger than the game. I think that's his legacy. Switching gears. And again, you can compare him to Jordan, the rings, all those things, but I think people miss the point when it comes to that. Switching gears, DeShaun Watson. From Bill Russell to DeShaun Watson. Look, this is one of these things that, again, the NFL has a domestic situation, or at least, this is not Ray Rice knocking out his girlfriend in the elevator, but it's taking advantage of women. Putting yourself in your will and your power. And, DeShaun Watson having over 20 of these cases, obviously he was doing something inappropriately. What was it? The Ray Rice incident in the elevator, his career is over. No team would sign him after that. Nobody wanted to touch him after that. So, the NFL has an interesting way of doling out punishments. And Ray Rice got, 6 games? Ben Roethlisberger, 6 games for his incident in a bathroom stall almost 15 years ago? So I start to look around when it comes to this situation with DeShaun Watson, and he gets 6 games. Now, he was gone all of last year as well. Still got paid for it. These 6 games, what will the NFL do and tack on anything? Here's the thing about this. And I can rip on the NFL. Yeah, the NFL needs to reevaluate this. And last year they kind of let it sit, and they kind of, they did their investigation. And all right, here's the 6 games. If the NFL came out and fined him $15 million, would that be enough? What if the NFL fined him $20 million? Would that be enough? What if they added 8 games to this suspension? Would that be enough? What would it be? And then you got guys gambling that go away for a year, but this, and again, I look at DeShaun Watson's suspension. He didn't play all of last year. Did they take any account of that? See, I look at that kind of like we're going to do our self-imposed bowl ban and we're going to give up some scholarships and that's kind of what happened with DeShaun Watson, where it was, I don't want to say self-imposed, but it was hush, hush, wink, wink imposed. Adrian Peterson went through something similar with the commissioner's exempt list or whatever we call that thing. Here's the problem with this. People complain about this. You're not going to consume any less NFL because of it. Think about it. More people abandoned the NFL for a couple of months because Colin Kaepernick took a knee than are going to abandon the NFL because of this. What do you think? I would love to see how many people have turned in their Browns season tickets because of DeShaun Watson. How many have? None. Maybe one. Maybe there's a couple. It's just where we are. And as much as people complain, you're going to consume any less of it? I always, try to drive home this point. Ask people how many is their favorite beer, Budweiser, Bud Light. Nobody will raise their hand. It's the most purchased beer in America. How many people's favorite fast food restaurant is McDonald's? Favorite place to eat. Nobody raise their hand. No, it's the most consumed product in America. in terms of food. How many's favorite place to buy clothing is Walmart? Nobody raised their hand. More people buy clothing at Walmart than any other place in America. Somebody's consuming it. Same thing with the NFL. Oh, I disagree with what the NFL did. You still going to watch it? Yeah. Yeah. You're still going to go back. Even people did that with Colin Kaepernick. They complained for a while and they pouted. Basically, you had fans in the NFL that gave the NFL the silent treatment. You're eventually going to talk to it again. So here the NFL does this. If you quit consuming it, look, people are going to boo. DeShaun Watson is going to be booed mercilessly on the road. At home, he'll be adored. It's the same people that complained about, steroids in baseball. What's the most watched event? Home run derby. Still love the long ball. Still consume it. People say they went away from baseball because of the strike, but think about how naive that is now. That was 30 years ago almost, 28 years ago. They've cleaned it up. They've done all these things. They've tried to do equity sharing. They've tried to do luxury taxes and creating a competitive balance. Has it worked? Baseball, in terms of championships, has got the most parity of any sport. At least spreading them around, haven't they? At least trying to, more so than football. I just think it's interesting that, people are mad about this. The NFL is the product that people will complain about but still consume. Baseball, people complain about and not consume. Basketball, people complain about and not consume. Football is the only sport where people complain and still consume it. So I look at what should the NFL do here. Until you as a fan base and a collective group demand more punishment, what if they look around and go, wait a second here, this is what the market dictates. 6 games, okay, they need to do more. Or else what? It's a bad look. You still going to consume it? Still going to consume it? I look at the NFL as a long line at Disney. Oh, those prices are ridiculous. Think about this. The NFL's like Disney World, Disneyland. Oh my gosh, look at the prices. Look at these long lines. You going to go? Well, yeah. Still gotcha. So the DeShaun dilemma. Is there one? You're going to complain, but you're not. You're going to consume it. So why would 6 games? Need to do more. Why? Because they need to do more to set an example for their female season ticket holders and their. Okay, we'll see if that attendance goes down this year. If it goes down 15%, oh boy, you got a decision to make. You got to change some stuff. If it doesn't go down, so what? Yeah, it's a bitter, jagged pill, but you're going to end up swallowing it without any water. Going to wrap with this. Aaron Judge, 42 home runs. Here we are in August. There was a time when you had 42 home runs in August. All right, here we go. Barry Bonds, McGuire hit 70, Bonds hit 73. It's been 20 years. Okay, now what? Now this. Aaron Judge has 59 games to hit 20 home runs to be the all-time leading Yankee home run hitter. Single season. Right? Ruth 60, Maris 61. What man will get to 57 once, 58? Is he going to get there? Yeah, he's going to get there. Aaron Judge is on pace for 65 home runs at the recording of this podcast. Which means that's what he's on pace to do. Which means if he gets hot, can Aaron Judge actually track down? Can he actually track down Barry Bonds? Boy, wouldn't that be a bitter pill? Aaron Judge hits his 74th home run. Yankee Stadium. All-time home run leader. Single season. Off he goes. Oh, boy. Now, look. A lot's going to have to go right. He would have to hit 31 home runs in 59 games. That's a lot. That's a home run every other game. That's a lot. But here's what's funny about Aaron Judge. His home run pace at the end of each month, with the exception of May, has gone up. His pace at the end of April was like 62. Then his pace at the end of May was like 57. His pace at the end of June was 60. His pace at the end of July was 65. He gets to the end of August and his pace is like 68, 69. Watch out. Now, it's going to be tough to do. But all I can tell you is the last 2 months, his pace has gone up. The dog days of summer. You know, we're near the, we got about 2 more weeks to go. The dog days of summer, right after the All-Star break, right after the 4th, right around there, all the way in through the first week, 10 days of August. He's hit more home runs during the dog days of summer. His pace has been greater. Boy, wouldn't this be something? Again, it would be, if Aaron Judge hits more than 61 home runs, it's the most home runs hit by a guy that doesn't have performance-enhancing ties. Does that mean anything to anybody? I don't know. Breaking Maris's Maris and Ruth, tracking those guys down, being that home run, all-time Yankee single-season home run leader. Yeah, that almost has more cachet to it than the Bonds record, right? It would. But I would love to see, and even if it's just something small, like let's say Aaron Judge hits 2 home runs this week, and he's at 64, August 7th. Okay, he's now on pace, or 64, excuse me. At that pace, he had 44. Okay, 2 home runs a week gets him to what? Okay, that gets him to 62. Okay, if he would get here's what needs to happen. He needs to hit 2 or 3 home runs a week, and then have a 3 home run game, or back-to-back 2 home run games, and oh gosh, he's at 50 now. He's at 50 and okay. Where does he have to be to get to 73? If he'd hit 13 home runs this month and be at 55, if he'd hit 13 home runs this month and be at 55, then he needs 18 in September. That's a lot. Don't get me wrong, that's a lot. But you're going to be playing a lot of guys down the stretch. The September call-ups. Now, what's going to work against Aaron Judge is the Yankees got a 15-game lead. They start to rest him. Does he take a day off? Can he afford a day off? Aaron Judge should take some time off down the stretch. The goal is to win a World Series. You need him healthy. That guy hadn't had a healthy full season in 3 or 4 years. But look, if we're sitting there 2 weeks from now and it's August 15th, he's got 42. If he's sitting there 2 weeks from now at 48, you say, give it to 55 at the end of August? Judge, jury. Do I think he gets there? No. Do I think he breaks Maris's Yankee home run? I think he ends up with 64, 65. I like the pace that he's on. But he just finished a hot week. He's 4 or 5 home run week away from you going, wait a second here. Now, what does he have to be? As long as he keeps that 2-for-1 pace, 31 home runs, 59 games. That's a lot. Let's say he hits 3 this week in 6 games. Now he's got 28 in 52, 53. Okay. As long as he keeps it close to 2-for-1, we're fine. If he ever gets in a situation where he needs to hit, 20 home runs in 30 games, now it gets dicey. But watch Aaron Judge the first 2 weeks here of August. If he can hit 6 home runs the first 2 weeks of August, 48. That would mean that he would need 25 with 48. Pay attention. It'll be interesting. Going to be interesting. Harp on Sports, the Bar, podcast, media, audio, radio network. Follow, share, like, subscribe at Harp on Sports Twitter, at Harp on Sports Instagram, Harp on Sports Auditory Route, the Bar, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Apple Podcast, Harp on Sports, the YouTube channel, Harp on Sports, the Facebook page, and of course, harponsports.com. And remember, stay clean, stay focused, stay strong. Frankenstein. Have fun with your friends.